Right, our first dogs were Hannah and Dottie, which as such I felt we rescued from a home which was undesirable. They were in a family that were about to separate. They weren't being looked after properly. So I rehomed the whole litter to myself and friends. We never had dogs like that before, and they were absolutely brilliant, and I had them
Hannah
again.
and Dottie were.
Third dog, which I got when they were 6 months old, was Annie, because she needed rehoming because her master had been involved in a car crash and he lost his house. And he'd also got the sister to Hannah and Dottie. So we then had Annie, the Springer Spaniel, who was mad and lovely.
She was mad as a hatter.
And we had those for years. It was absolutely brilliant, and I'd recommend a rescue dog having a second chance at life. And then we had
Martha.
Martha came when my dogs were much older, because she'd been found wandering the lanes around Gayton, around Toaster.
Yeah.
She was elderly, but she smelt beautiful. She'd obviously been shampooed, but nobody came forward to claim her. But she was probably about 13 or 14 when we got her. Blind in one eye, partially sighted in the other. But had fur like velvet.
Yeah, I remember.
She was absolutely gorgeous. A real elegant, genteel old lady. And they all lived to about 15 or so, 15, 16. And it leaves a hole in your life when they're not there. So we got these two hooligans from Italy, from a rescue up in Whittlebury. A lady who rescued cats, foxes and dogs. Was not particularly a dog person, but she had a selection of dogs that she'd decided should not be euthanized by the local dog pound. And somebody contacted her to say there were these 4 puppies in Italy. So they raised money, and they came over from Italy in a van. They never left the van for 3 days, so they're in quite a smelly condition when they got here.
Yeah.
Being Italian, they are quite strong-minded. Have the mind of their own, don't you? Hey? And they're
How old were they when you
bigger.
got them?
They were born on the 12th of the 12th of the 12th, and we got them in the April. Didn't we? Yes.
4 months.
Yes. Very lively, much harder to have trained, aren't you? Very loud bark, very territorial, very sensitive, aren't you? Quite reactive at times, but I'm pretty certain they would protect me if I were there under attack, wouldn't you? Eh? Apparently they are sisters, even though they look very different.
Yeah, very
Italian
different.
vet, because of the white stripe.
Ah.
They've all got the white stripe. One sister went to Banbury and the other sister's down the road. Aren't they? I would definitely recommend it with a simple reason: it gets you out of the house, you get into fresh air, good exercise, good socially, because you do talk to other people with dogs, and without dogs, because they say, "Oh, look at those dogs." And we have conversations about we, don't you? Yes, look at you.
And would you always rehome?
I would, yeah, absolutely, yes. I just feel they all deserve a second chance, and when there's so many dogs out there that need a second chance, I wouldn't worry about buying a pedigree. I've never been into showing dogs. I'm not a keen fan of crufts particularly.
Yeah.
Although I do appreciate what a pedigree dog looks like, some of them.
I like
Some of them pedigree for a reason, because they are working dogs.
The agility games are good though.
Yes, I do like, agilities, but some of them are so interbred, they're very highly strung.
Yeah.
And a lot of those dogs are show dogs, not pets.
Yeah.
If I have a dog, I want it to be a pet.
And what about the cats?
The cats, well, we rescued the cats, yes. Daisy came from somebody up the road, their husband's boss cat, and they never bothered to get it neutered. Always had kittens, about 6-7 litters a year.
Oh gosh.
I know, just one after another really, every 2 months. and got him because he was grey. I'd waited 20 years for a grey cat. Very loving, but not as, and he's very shy actually, so it's a bit hard when people come to visit. If he's a bit wary, he'll do wee on the carpet upstairs.
Aww.
And
How old was Wellie when you got Wellie?
Oh golly,
he was
6 weeks.
Wasn't he? Yeah.
He was 6 weeks,
And
and
Daisy.
so was Daisy, about 6 weeks. But I've got to say, I've never had a semi-long-haired cat before, and I probably wouldn't have another one. She doesn't appreciate being groomed. She was all right when she was younger, but now it's
Yeah.
I think the improvement in nutrition in dogs and cats means they do live longer, and they have less ailments if they are fed properly. So whereas you used to be looking at a dog for about 8-10 years and then it's stretched to 12, it is more likely these days to be 15. Even the pedigree ones live longer with their faults. And most of these Heinz 57 varieties, they've got so much in them from different dogs that they're very hardy.
Yeah.
They seem to breed out the worst characteristics of
That's
hip
what Emily was
dysplasia and
saying,
things.
Yeah.
But you do see the character coming through. Like with Kiva, she's very jittery, very much like a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
This is mine. But she's got the lurcher in her where she'd love to run for miles.
Yeah. Did you have to pay fees for any of them? Was there a process?
The 2 pussy cats were free, and these 2, Bella and Willow, I did pay for. They used to do, I think, £50, and they always used to. Quite often they would have the dog spayed before you were allowed to, or neutered before you were allowed to have it. But she did. I was allowed to have them, and the charity paid for their spaying. She phones around. They went to Middleton Cheney quite a way because he wasn't prepared to do the 4 of them at a discount.
Yeah.
We had a problem as such with Bella because there's obviously something in her makeup that anaesthetics don't agree easy to her. So she, her other sister that looks just like her, Annie in Banbury, she went first, and they had difficulty getting her around through the anaesthetic. They thought they were going to lose her. So when we took these 2, I said, "Oh, this is the sister to the dog we nearly lost last week." "Oh, right, okay, thank you." And then when what did she do? She cut her foot, didn't she? She had to have her foot stitched and had a lot of trouble getting her around. I told Toast at the time that there was problems. They changed the anaesthetic and she came round all right, but then when I went to pick her up, she was totally uncoordinated and couldn't walk. Frightened the veterinarians to death. She said, "Oh gosh, she was fine, she's fine. Do you want to keep her? I'll leave her here if you like, it doesn't matter." And I went, no, it's fine. I'll be up all night, she'll be okay. We've done this before. You have to be a bit careful with that one. This one. But they are terrible scroungers, these 2. They'll eat anything. Give it a go. Hence they probably had...
She's looked after enough.
They've had more tummy upsets and
because I eat cats.
Squitty things.
Oh dear.
Any of the others we've ever had. Don't you? Yes, you do eat rubbish, including drugs. I found in Stony Stratford Country Park.
Oh, wonderful.
I thought it was rubbish from a picnic, being naive. It wasn't until we got in the car and she was excessively, that's a bit odd, and she was throwing her head around. What on earth? Anyway, she passed with her, this one. Suddenly I'm sitting watching telly, she came and sat next to me, and her head went like in a cartoon. Head went up, like this. What on earth? I called her name, she looked at me and her pupils gone ping.
Oh gosh.
So I rang the vet and I said, "I think she must have had some drugs, but they're not mine." So we discussed the signs and symptoms, when it should peak, what we should do about it.
Yeah.
And she drank and drank and drank cold tea.
Oh.
She'd get her to drink as much as she can. She wasn't interested in water, but cold tea. But what goes in has to come out.
Oh gosh.
So the rest of the night it was just going for a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, she came round.
Oh dear.
But I thought she was hallucinating. And then she was leaping off the seat and jumping at things. She's hallucinating. Aren't you, eh? You're peculiar.
Oh.
They have been pretty hardy. The worst things we'd probably have, you had a cut paw a lot with Hannah. And then Dottie got breast cancer.
Yeah.
Hannah then got some sort of cancer. But I think it must have gone to her lungs or her trachea, because if she got blocked off, she lost that. But she must have gone to her brain as well, because she started fitting. Annie had this vestibular syndrome, which is like a stroke, which they do recover from, never 100%, and it does vary. But she then had lots of little TIAs after that. But these two so far not been too bad. Bella, of course, put her head in the tin and cut her tongue. With that. Blood everywhere.
Oh.
Oh, that's right, when she came round from that, they had trouble with her with that. But no. This needs grooming a lot more than the other two ever did. Going for a haircut on Monday, one on Monday, one on Wednesday. This one hates it, and she sits and bark, 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 bark.
Oh.
Don't you? All right being groomed, but don't like being in the cage.
Why do you have pets? What is it about them?
Company, as I said, gets you out. Just a member of the family. I think it was good for children to have pets when they're little.
Yeah.
Learn a bit of responsibility and care, what's needed.
Would you ever not have a pet? You'd always have.
I think I'd always have some sort of pet.
Yeah.
No more cats.
No more pets.
Well,
Not like them two we've got now.
well, I think, you see, we've never had a cat get as old, have we?
Well,
Lucas
he's
Ray.
been bad all his life. He just got.
He's not been bad all his
Yes,
life.
he's wet and pooed everywhere.
Not all his life, darling.
Yes, he has. Little Fluffy's all right.
She tells you to get a plant. And
Yeah.
if you get a plant and it's still alive a year later, you get a goldfish.
Oh.
If that's alive a year later, because you've managed to cope with it, you
Yeah.
get a pussycat. Goes from there.
Cats are good.
I could say that my cats are obviously a lot older than the dogs, so the cats were here first, and they were very good. Oh, I say, it's a ridiculous spot on the front. Oh, I didn't know about that one. She's very oily at the minute. I don't know why.
That weather.
I don't know, but she's gone quite scruffy. Never used to be this scruffy, and her fur is not as good as it was.
What's going on with you?
So I just thought, right, haircut Monday, start again. Okay. It's funny, she doesn't lose her fur seems to filter off more than brush off.
Yeah.
You can get masses off Willow. Masses.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You'd have thought it would be the other way around.
I don't tend to have her cut, just washed. But this one gets cut. It looks like a puppy. Does Luke enjoy having the cat?
Yes.
Yeah.
He pretends not to,
Mm-hmm.
but he definitely does. And he gets jealous if they come and sit on my lap. But yeah, no, he likes the company when he's back in by himself.
I would either, I think when I lose these, I think I'd only have one at a time then, because I'd be that much older.
Yeah.
Either that or I would do fostering.
Yeah.
It depends if somebody else is alive.
Oh. But they are, they're like part of the family, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yes.
And there is a big hole when they go.
These are much worse behaved than the others were.
Yeah.
Aren't you, eh?
Much bigger as well.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes. I always wanted a big dog, but I think now if I have another dog and it's big, it's just definitely the one.
Yeah.
And I do think these probably would have benefited from being only dogs in some ways, because I think, whereas Hannah and Dottie were just so easy,
Yeah.
and these two got the personality where if I can do it, she can do it, you know. And I mean, I don't never let these off the lead now, because I'm never quite sure if they're going to attack another dog, quite frankly.
And do you think that's from them being rehomed or just their
Well,
personality?
no, I think when we first got them, they were off the lead, they were very good, right up until they were 18 months.
Yeah.
Then the weather was horrendous, and I stopped walking them round the fields.
Oh, I remember that actually.
Excuse me, so I was going around Stony, and it seems to be the dogs that they met before that, they are fine with. Since then, no.
Oh.
Willow is reactive and bark, 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 whereas she is, you have to be a bit more careful with her because she doesn't, she just gets that look in the eye and then she goes, not all out fight.
Yeah, but just a warning.
But
snap.
Max down Church Lane, which is a little black Parsons, no, Norfolk Terrier, well he's a little black terrier. He's older than them, and right from when they were little he used to bark at them. And they remembered that, and he went past the other day and I didn't know. And she pulled the lead out of my hand and ran round the corner.
Oh.
I thought, oh, she's killing something. Because he was screaming, she was going ballistic. She didn't actually, it was all noise.
Yeah.
It was terrifying at the time because he was tiny. It was all noise, she didn't hurt him at all. But he bit her foot.
Oh.
Which I found out 2 days later when she couldn't walk.
Oh.
I thought, well, you asked for it. Because now, of course, he's so old and he's so arthritic.
Yeah.
He's partially blind. He's no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was quite a cruel thing to do, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Yes. But she just got her own back on him, really. But, you know, we go down Church Lane now and they're ready to bark at him.
Oh, so they know.
Well, I can't get past without, but yeah, I constantly have a radar going.
Yeah.
As to what's ahead of me. This one likes to chase pigeons, rabbits, given the opportunity, pheasants, squirrels. Oh, we went down Church Lane, this squirrel was scampering in the beech tree at the thatched cottage, and it fell. It just sort of fell, plonk, and straight in front of us, about 6 foot from us, and I'm thinking, squirrels don't fall out of trees.
No.
And it just laid there. Of course, there was this momentary, oh, squirrel! And they wanted to try and get it, holding on, but as soon as her breath hit the back of this squirrel, woof, it's gone. Yeah. You didn't hurt it. You breathed on it. Yes, you did. You breathed on it, which was not nice, really. Well, you revived it, really, didn't you? Yes, you've got lovely foul breath. I know. Grotty teeth. She's definitely ageing more than Willow.
Yeah. Have you ever had any issues from rehoming?
No. Not at all, no. Hannah and Dottie, you see, they came from this house. There was only one I couldn't rehome because he died.
Aww.
I went to collect my two and thought, God, what's wrong with that puppy? And he had chewed the baby's dummy and got intestinal obstruction. I said, I'm going to take it to the vet. And I said, well, do you need a lift? Because I just didn't drive. No, it's okay. But by the time I got it to the vet, it was too late. I felt a bit bad about that. Now I had two. Matthew Bywater had one. Therese had one.
Yeah.
And then Emily's friend's mum, who had told us about the puppies, they had a dog as well. They had one of them. But it was quite sad, really, because they had several and they were all caged off. He apparently got cancer, a tumour, quite young, and died. I don't know what happened to Matthew's one. What was she called? No. Truly? No, that was... Therese's was called True.
Blue. Was Therese's Blue?
No, it was True. He died before mine. Yeah, Hannah and Josh lived the longest. It was a bit of a shock to Hannah when we got Bella.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because I used to put Bella in a cage because she was far more boisterous, and of course Hannah was old at that time, but she wasn't ill at that point. They never ever came upstairs, Hannah and Dottie. You never need to stairgate. They never. And just sat up the stairs thinking, don't leave me down here with that. And she came upstairs to sleep after that in her bed. Never made any effort to jump on the beds or anything. And she was quite amazing. But when she was ill, I bought a new bed because she was having these fits and being incontinent. And they kept wanting to get in her bed. The day she died, they didn't go near that bed for 3 days. Really bizarre.
They say they've got another sense, don't they?
Mm.
So do you think...
But if I'd known Hannah was going to be all like that, I'd never have had Bella.
Yeah.
So I could have given all my time to Hannah.
Yeah.
And the only reason really I had Annie put down is because she was wobbly on her legs. I thought if she falls and breaks her leg and I'm at work,
Yeah.
she's lying there in agony.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to put down. And she had a funny smell. I was convinced she had a urine infection, but they said it wasn't. But she had a strange smell about her.
Do you think Milton Keynes would benefit from having a dog rehoming centre? Cause it doesn't?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Because I
So
think
these are
if
from
it's...
Whittlebury.
Whittlebury's closed down. Though these were from Whittlebury, yes. Yes, I do think... I think every big town should have one, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because I think you could keep it more local and people are more aware, and they'd also be keeping an eye on dogs that not to be neglected and mistreated.
Yeah. Next, the closest one's Aylesbury for the RSPCA for dogs. They've got the cats here, but not the dogs.
Blackberry? At Aylesbury, something
Yeah,
like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then Chloe's boyfriend, Jack, his mum rehomed, but she had to go to Battersea in London to get hers.
There's one, Kettering, something like that, where we got Charlie from. I think we got Charlie from. Oh God, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called now.
So I wonder where all the stray dogs and the dogs that need rehoming go to in MK.
They go to Southsea Lodge, Dog Pound, which hold on to them as long as they're not over subscribed. Failing that, they get put down. They get chanced. They have to keep them, I think, legally for 7 days in case somebody comes to claim them. Sometimes the police have a little kennel which they will keep them there for, I think, up to 3 days to try and get them out.
And then they just get put down.
But usually there's somebody sitting on the end of the phone saying, have you got a room? And they'll get them to the nearest that they can. Jerry Green, that's it, Jerry Green. There's one in, I think it's Kettering or Wellingborough, Jerry Green. But I think every big town should have one.
Yeah.
And I think the council should part fund it. I'm sure there's enough businesses that say, right, you know, we're prepared to give $2,000 a year towards it. There's enough businesses who get it going. And if you do go to get a dog, you do pay a minimum of.
Yeah.
And whatever it is. And also you will have to agree to having spot checks that animal is being kept well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, and the thing is as well, you need to be able to say, right, you've got 4 weeks. If you're not happy about having this dog, we have it back, but you don't get your money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not easy. You don't always know what you're taking on, because a dog is one character in a kennel. It's another when it comes home.
Yeah.
It comes out. And I think and along with it, it'd be probably good if they say, right, we have dog training sessions which you have to attend, and whether that takes place before they're actually allowed to take the dog home.
Yeah.
Because you can see how they react.
Yeah.
And generally, I do believe the dog chooses you. You shouldn't choose the dog. I mean, I never wanted Hannah.
Yeah.
Because I went with the conceived idea I didn't want a little dog, and she was the one that looked like a terrier and I didn't want her, and she just kept sitting and looking at me.
Aww.
I can't bond with this dog, can't bond with this dog, I'm not looking at this dog. And she was absolutely adorable. You know?
Yeah, I was watching a programme on recently about rehoming, and they'll see who the person is and then see what they're looking for and then try and match them, and they'll put them in a room and let the dog come to them. And they thought they perfectly matched this guy. He'd lost his legs, so he was then housebound, so they were looking for a companion for him to keep him company in the day. And they thought this dog would be amazing for him, and literally he went into the room and couldn't care less. Like, the dog was off, didn't come up to him, and so that there wasn't a match. But then you're right, if he'd have picked them online and gone, that's the dog I want, that's the characteristics I want, it wouldn't have worked.
See, Nick is convinced that Charlie's never really bonded with her.
Oh, really?
But he was as good as gold here, he was good with Ian, but then Ian was very much a dog person.
Yeah.
And he was
Charlie
lost
from
one
Ian
day.
then?
No, he came from Jerry Green.
Yeah.
But, Ian used to walk the dogs quite a lot.
Yeah.
He'd go out with all the dogs, about 5 at a time.
I remember that.
He was no trouble. Oh no, Ian wasn't here, was he? It was Annie. Yeah, Annie adored him. And when Ian died, she used to, when we had that barbecue there, she used to sit on the flat bit and look and stare at his door all day, waiting for him to come out.
Oh.
I mean, how do you explain it?
Yeah.
He loved Annie. He did adore Annie. I know he did like these two. He wasn't. He found Martha a bit irritating because she was slow and things, but you know she was a real sweetie.
That walked in circles. That's how I remember Martha.
Yes, because she'd
sideways
had the
circles.
vestibular syndrome thing, you see. And of course, being blind in one eye and partially sighted in the other, you had to keep your leg to the partially sighted eye. If anybody walked between you, she turned around and followed that leg.
Oh.
And we got Charlie when.
Because Charlie was for Nikki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we got him, Hannah taught him how to retrieve a ball, and when she got old, he would run and fetch the ball and drop it in front of her so she could bring it back. I
Oh.
know. And he was as good as gold when he lived here. I mean, he's not now, but he doesn't like Gary.
Yeah.
And that is the problem.
Yeah, they
It has to be
definitely
a
have to
whole
bond.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's well, that's another story, but you know, the whole house has to be a dog house,
Yeah.
a dog-friendly house, you know, because they pick up on it, and that's when the problems start.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they do. They've got good senses and all. Yeah.
If the dog doesn't like somebody, you've got to wonder why.
Yeah.
Children are the same. Children have met people and they just don't take to somebody, and there's usually something. My dad had a German Shepherd, pedigree one. My mum bought it him for their first wedding anniversary, and he used to sit by the prams when we were little. And when they lived in Cheshire, they had it was a bungalow, and there was a 4 foot fence, stone wall all the way around. This man went past one day, and Rusty had jumped that wall and chased him down the road. We've no idea to this day why, because he was not vicious. And only when he was 6 months old, Dad came home with somebody, and this chap, and Rusty sat facing the corner with his back to them. He would not go near this man.
Oh.
Really, really bizarre.
Yeah, they definitely have a sense. So I think it's amazing they can detect like fits and low blood sugar levels and amazing.
But you see, it's a bit like, you know, it's a talent, like in people. Some people could do music, some people do knitting, and it is, some dogs pick up on it better than others.
Yeah.
Some you don't even have to train. There was that little boy who was diabetic, and they got a black Labrador puppy, and that puppy picked up at the age of 6 months. This little boy was in a coma, and he used to sleep, I think, on the landing. But very good. Didn't jump on beds or anything, but went and saw the little boy's poorly, went berserk at the mum, was barking, pulling the covers, and what on earth's wrong? What's wrong? Which said, oh, he needs a wee. Went out on the landing, and he's charged into the little boy's room, you see, and they wouldn't let him go downstairs. Let him go in.
It's amazing.
But he saved their life, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no end of incidents when dogs have sensed that there's a car coming and they've jumped up and knocked their owner out of the way and things like that. And you look how they worked in the war.
Yeah.
A lot of soldiers didn't want them, but when they realised a dog would let you know when the enemy were around,
Yeah.
they would actually go to sleep, or they would make sure they'd be sleeping by the dog or within earshot of the dog.
Yeah.
So many dogs died. Gave their life for it, and I think actually there was a medal. What's it called? The Perkins Medal. Dickens Medal.
For the
brave
dogs.
animals and things. Yeah,
Oh.
I think that's right. Don't think they get the credit for what they are. Although you probably find, because there's pedigree dogs that are bred for good things, for certain things, whether it's a sniffer dog or whatever, there's probably a higher level of intelligence in certain dogs than others.
Yeah.
That's been sort of bred in. But I don't understand the neglect and eating them in China and,
Yeah. No.
and their fur.
Yeah. Awful.
They have the right to life.
Yes.
I do think there should be maybe once or twice a year. There should be a big discount to get your dog castrated or neutered.
Yeah, I think some charities do. I know they do with the cats. Cats Protection and Kids will do a day where you get a voucher and you can go and do it. So there's just too many.
I think it's all just part of. And particularly if there's somebody a breeder and they're selling pedigrees, I think they say, right, this is going to cost an extra £100 because this is a voucher to get your cat neutered or whatever, your dog neutered.
Yeah.
Because I know when you get a pedigree dog, sometimes there's big rules that you can't breed and all this sort of thing, which I think is very wrong. You bought that dog, you owned it helping.
Yeah.
What's
And
that?
there's so many people breeding for money at the minute and keeping them in tiny little cages.
Causing problems, psychological problems.
Yeah.
But I do think you have to put a lot of time and effort and energy into them for the first 18 months, depending on the dog, of course. And then you get a good dog out of it.
Yeah.
And some are easier than others to train. Hannah and Dottie, could take them anywhere, anytime. These, limited.
Do you think that's from their start in life, or whether that's just them as a breed?
I think it's a bit of the breeding, and I think probably they didn't get the time that they deserve from me, to be honest. This is silly, really, because the girl's much smaller with the other ones. You would have thought I'd have less time, but I think the girl's more involved with those.
Yeah.
So they would
help out.
Yeah, take them to sit and all
But
that.
you don't think they're rehoming start to life and coming from Italy and
No,
would have affected
it
them?
must be. They must have some sort of have to adjust to the language. They were with a British lady for what were they? For about 3 months. For about 3 months, so they're used to a British voice. But because out there, dogs are cheap.
Yeah.
And they love puppies, but once they're a bit older, they dump them.
Oh.
They get dumped in the middle of the road. She said she could be following me at a car thinking, what are you stopping there for? And literally put a dog out in the road and drive on. That's what they do. And there's a sale one Sunday a month on the hill outside the village, and you go and buy a donkey for £5.
Oh wow.
Puppies are 50p.
Wow.
And she lived in a, what do they call a mezzanine? And she herself didn't have a garden, but people underneath had a garden. An 8-year-old daughter, and they got her a hamster, and they were feeding it on human food. And couldn't understand why it died. Yeah, couldn't understand why it died. And then they got a dog. This dog was chained in the garden. It had 3-foot chain. Didn't have water very often, and it got fed twice a week. And they went on holiday and asked she to look after it, so yeah, she fed it. But the brother-in-law of the chap kept checking on it and noticed it was being fed very regularly.
Yeah.
And she also was giving it water, and when they went out, before she looked after them, she used to put a bucket down on the road to let the dog have a drink. And so they moved the dog to the other side of the garden, so she couldn't do that. Then it got moved to the allotment. Their allotment. It was chained up there. Didn't live long, obviously. But it's...
What, I don't understand the reason.
I know. And her friend, who was a cat person, very much a cat person, had actually adopted 9 dogs because she'd found them in difficult ways. One dog, she was going for a walk through a forest. Oh, what on earth is that dreadful noise? It was screaming, absolutely screaming. She thought, what the dickens? She thought there was animal in trouble. And she went and found this dog, and they'd gouged its eyes out, and it was tied to a tree. So she took it to the vet, paid a lot of money obviously out there, but she said the majority of the vets out there, it's not a dog.
Yeah, I don't know.
And somebody poisoned her dog. She said if you've got a pedigree dog, there's a lot of jealousy, and it could be kidnapped, it could be stolen, it could be killed. And she had one of those dog de Bordeaux's, and somebody poisoned it. But they didn't give as much poison to just kill it like that.
Yeah.
And it took her 3 days to think, what is wrong with you? You're just off. by the time she got to the vets, it was too late. And so they had to put it to sleep, but they insisted on putting it inside a black dustbin bag so it wouldn't make it wouldn't mess the table. The vet that had these, because when she found these 4 puppies, they were in a box, soaking wet, after the worst rainstorm they'd had in 30 years. And she took her dogs for a walk. What on earth is that? And it moved. And she looked in the box, all the puppies absolutely soaked. And so she went home, rang the vet, said, right, I'm bringing 4 puppies. And he went, oh, right, okay. And took them in. He said, I could do what you want me to do. He said, but they will die from pneumonia. And she said, well, I'll look after them till they die. He was very nice. He was a nice vet. And they survived. And he said, right, if you get these out of Italy, I will do everything free. Vaccinations, passports, everything was free. He did it free to get them new homes. And she had to go in front of a judge to get the passports signed off by them. And she just said, who do you think you are that they can't be staying in Italy and be looked after? Don't you ever, ever come before me again, because the answer will be no.
Wow.
Because they thought it was wrong, that they should be staying in Italy, because it was showing up. And they have rescue centres out there that are run by the mafia, so the government gives them sort of like £3 a day to feed a cat, feed the dogs, and the mafia take 2.
Oh.
And it's just a massive field with sometimes it's just a bit of wood, V-shaped wood, and they're chaining it. It's just the majority of them die, they never get another home. And her vet was in the bottom of the block of flats, and she said they were trying to get rid of it because the Italians might, not many take them to the vets, they'd rather kill them, get a new dog. And people complained that because it was doctor.
Oh, sorry.
She said he was a nice vet, she was getting used to it. And she said the odd thing is that they'll chain the dog up outside the house to keep burglars away. And she said, but they don't stop the burglars.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they do. She said, you tie the dog up so they can't chase a burglar off, they just bark. And she said, because they bark at everybody that goes past, you don't know who they are. He said, so there's no way they're going to protect your house.
Yeah.
And she said, you could see the penny drop, this man, when she said it.
Yeah.
Bitches are scum. They don't bother with bitch. And they don't, the hunting dogs they don't feed because it makes them hunt more keenly. This is supposed to be a shepherd. It's supposed to be, and Kirsty had a video of the, what do they call them? Maramas, don't they? Something like that. So I know she's a crossbreed, but they're usually slightly shorter than a Pyrenean mounted dog, and they're out on the hills in Italy, and they guard the sheep. And they had some in Australia looking after sheep there, and there was lots of young ones, 6, 7, 8 months old, and they put up a kite that looked like a bird of prey, and they were shepherding all the hens out of sight. So she's got a video of it that was on YouTube or something, but to show how the instinct, they'd never been taught, the instinct was there to protect the chickens. Quite interesting. But I think she's more protecting than this one. This one's more of the guard dog, although she barks a lot. I think she would protect more. Don't you? Yeah.
Thank you.
That's okay.